Greetings everyone, welcome back. Sorry I've been out for a few weeks. Again, life got crazy, go figure. Ended up taking a couple trips to Vegas for work, and I got a couple more plans, so I've kind of been slow on the uptake with completing the tutorials. I completely apologize for that. That's the only excuse I have, and it's not really a good one. Just been too busy. Over my free time that I did have, piecing together some stuff, which I've been actually working on this thing for many months. I finally completed it just in my spare time. This is my first attempt at the Iron Man helm. This is the Mark VI, the Sharkman's helm, and I'm pretty happy with it. I've got the first coat of resin on it, so it's actually solid. I did make mistakes, and I learned a couple things that I do want to go over with you in this tutorial. Not so much a tutorial, I guess this is just a video log, because I'm not going to tread on Stealth's work for his Iron Man stuff, but I am just going to go through a couple of things that I learned when using Pepakura for this thing specifically. Second thing I whipped together, I followed Stealth's tutorial for the arc reactor. So for Reno's pub crawl, I ended up going as Iron Man, not Iron Man, but Tony Stark. Got the beard going on. I've never had facial hair before, and I decided to go with the Tony Stark look, because the way my facial hair comes in, it kind of patches, so I figured it would look pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it so far. I figured what better way to get in the mood to do Iron Man and, you know, be the guy than to actually look like him, so that's what I'm going for. But my wire's kind of, I need to resolder it, but that's what I got there following the tutorial. When I do my chest piece, I'm just gonna do the unibeam chest piece. This worked okay. I think I used 16 LEDs. This is a AAA battery housing I found at Radio Shack. A couple bucks. You can get a bunch of them. They're about $1, $2, some of them, depending on it. This one comes with an on-off switch, so I didn't have to solder anything. I didn't have to remove the battery. But let's see, between that and this, as well as the other thing that I was working on, the reason I didn't have time for the tutorials because a friend of mine asked for help with a chest piece for his Halloween. We ended up making a breastplate for Ares, God of War. It was kind of my own creation. I wasn't really happy with it, told him the same thing. It was, again, a first draft, and I didn't have a whole lot of time to think on it. I only think I had about a week and a half. Not enough time for a solo creation like that. So that's why I didn't make a tutorial on it. I wasn't happy with it, and after I finished it and gave it to him for Halloween, I immediately thought of a different way to make it and felt really ashamed for giving him that the way I did. He was happy with it, and I was happy that he did like it, but I just wasn't happy with it. So we might end up making another one. But anyways, let's get into the things that I found with the Sharkman's helm. Now, when you download the Pepakura file for the Sharkman's Mark VI helm, there's a couple things that you don't know the first time making the helm, but I want to show you because I've never found them in another tutorial, and it'll take me a second to open up the Pepakura to show you what I mean in the program itself. But basically, this is sized at pretty much scale. I think I upped it to 1.03, so not a huge increase from the single scale that it was, because I wanted a little bit more room for when I do the motorized faceplate. But one thing you notice, the way it's made, it will not fit over your head, and I thought this might have been a sizing thing. This is not true. This is the way it is made. Now, there's a couple ways around it from my understanding, but the main way is that you cut this section out and then figure out another way to reattach it when it's on. But I have not gotten that far. The second thing I want you guys to know, when you're building the Iron Man helm, with the Pepakura process, because believe me, I would be really impressed if somebody could make this from eyeballing. I don't see how it's possible. There's too many edges and too many details that they'd have to get right. But the second thing you need to know is that when you're building the Iron Man helm through the Sharkman's set, or the Sharkman's Pepakura, you're actually building 5 separate pieces. The earpieces are separate, the faceplate is separate, and then the jaw piece is actually separate. And you end up gluing them together. They don't actually match the numerical lines. You just end up gluing them together to form the seal. So the back piece is basically the whole helm is one piece, and then the faceplate and the jaw and everything glues together. But like I said, the numbers don't go together. Just to get it as a solid piece, you have to do that. Another tip that I have for you is on the inside here, I would recommend, and this is probably what I'm going to do because I most likely will rebuild this, is don't attach these pieces, because they're actually still really flimsy even with the resin on them, and I would leave them off until the very end and then resin the thing. Just do your single coat of resin and then glue them on. That way you can make sure it's all solid. And also I might end up cutting on the inside to give place for my ears and maybe some microphones or something. I don't know what I'll do in there, but there is a decent amount of room in here. I haven't been able to fit my head in it because I got a fat head. But that's what I noticed here is there's a lot of confusion when you start to build this thing, and Pepakura can be really daunting. Stealth and I have talked back and forth a little bit, and he said that most people that start with a helm get discouraged. I can see why. This was really tough, and while I'm happy with it, I have some mistakes that I made, and I also wanted to show you guys this because this is the build process. You don't just become good overnight. Like, everybody likes my Sith Acolyte stuff, and I'm happy for that, but understand that I make mistakes all the time. And I don't want you to think that I make this tutorial and people that make these tutorials just get it right the first try. It took me 3 months on the Sith Acolyte to do this right, and 4 attempts on the helm, 3 separate attempts on the full body armor, just to get styles that I want. And that was all eyeballing. Now on Pepakura, it could take you more. You're going to have to build it and rebuild it. There is no way to know your sizing because every person is different. You're just going to have to spend the time doing the builds. I have not messed around with the cardboard style of Pepakura. I may do that, which is essentially you take the foam templates from Pepakura and use them on cardboard, which helps alleviate a lot of the tabs. The biggest problem with the tabs is cutting them out. The tabs, for the most part, to me, weren't that big of a deal once they were cut out. It does hurt your hand cutting them out. You do spend a lot of time, but I think the final product is pretty good for what you get. Now, the other thing that I noticed, and this has to do with the template itself on the Sharkman's, at least the one that I downloaded, and I don't know if this is different, but it does not give you enough lines. There's not enough breaks, and specifically, I want to show you this. I have to get up closer to it, and I hope you can see it all right. I have tears right here to allow for the numbers to match up properly on the inside. This was the biggest problem that I had, was I could not get the faceplate to line up properly. And upon looking at another one of Stealth's videos, I think it was the one how to modify oversized Pepakura parts, and he just smashes it with the hammer. That, even though that was a spoof video, it actually showed me something. The fact that he adds additional cuts in all of them, and I did a little bit more research on somebody else that did one, and again, they extend the cuts down, like right here where it doesn't quite line up properly. In Pepakura, you can make these breaks, and I'm going to open up Pepakura and show you that, and that's the same thing here. I ended up tearing it just to get it in there, but on my second attempt, I think I'm just going to cut it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys off the tripod, and we're going to open it up, and I'll show you. Go over here to my awesome Avengers. screen, and let's see, you got Pepakura. You open up Pepakura, zoom in. Alright, there you go. And I hope you can see this alright. So we're going to go up here to File. We're going to open. I gotta find it. There it is. Mark 6 Helm. Alright, so you notice how here there's no breaks, there's no lines, and that's this piece specifically. See, you click on the part and it shows you. Now, if we open it up again, and I'll show you my edit that I did in the edits. See how it looks entirely different? You've got all those lines in there. That's because I added those extra breaks. So, let's see here. Moves a little slow when you got that much. So I added all these extra breaks. Now when you look at the original one, they're not there. So if you print it out just after you download it, you can't tell. You have no way of knowing specifically on these two pieces. Now, if you zoom in, this is the faceplate portion. See, right there. Here's the faceplate portion. There's actually little gaps right there. And I'll zoom in even more. See this gap? That's where the breaks occur. And all you do is right click, join and disjoin, and it'll show these little lines. So what you do is line them up, click, and then line it up again, and just follow the natural break. And that's all you need to do, is about 2 to 3, just to give you the, you know, what you're looking for. And follow the straight lines. So you click, and click, and here's another break, and do it until you're comfortable with it. You don't want to disjoin the whole thing. You just want to make marks in here so you know where to cut. Same deal here. See how it goes down? Click. And be very careful. When you get the cut that you want, make sure that you save. This is really important because I've had some serious trouble rejoining pieces when they don't, when you disconnect them and they don't, they just don't want to reconnect. You keep clicking and they won't do it. It's really annoying. So those are the things that I wanted to go over with you guys. I'm not saving this because this is my base template. I saved as for another edit template, and that's what we're using this as here. So yeah, I also did cuts along the back, which is this piece right there. See? It's that piece. Zoom in. And I did additional cuts down the center. On each of these fold pieces, I extended out the cut a bit to make sure that I had the ability to fold this, because when you're taking a 2D flat object and trying to make it three-dimensional, it takes a lot of angles. So just FYI, don't be surprised if you try this, or the first time you tried it, it just didn't work. There was a lot of other little things that I noticed, that like this piece right here on one side, see how that section is? There's actually this little tiny piece right here. I don't know where that is exactly on this thing, but on one side it's joined. It's joined right here. But on the opposing face, it's not joined. So you have this tiny little section of piece that is just floating out into space. You have no idea why, and it's rather frustrating. So I ended up going through and cleaning up the template a little bit and figuring out which one I like the best, whether it be the disjoined or the joined pieces right from the get-go. And I figured out that I liked actually the disjoined with the little tiny paper piece. It gives it a cleaner edge, so that might be something you want to look into. A couple pieces you can get rid of. Depends on how deep you want to get into the detail with the eyes, but I ended up just leaving the eye sections out completely. I didn't think I needed them. A couple of the triangle pieces in here, in this section, I got rid of, because let me tell you, that gear section was a pain in the butt. There's also this, believe it or not, on the inside here, this bar is actually a piece. There's two of them. I got rid of both of those, and you can see it here off to the side. To make it so you don't print the stuff, all you do is drag it and remove it. I just got rid of it because you just don't end up seeing it in the final product. It'll be covered by resin or something like that. So, and the eyes, you want to be able to see out of them, and if you use friendly plastic or scrap plastic with LEDs to light them up, you just, to my understanding, you don't need this section. But I could, on this right here, guys, I could be completely off base. I haven't actually finished a Helm, so I don't know if I'm right on this aspect or not. You might be able to get away with doing this piece right here, but not the inner eye. You don't really need to do that, but it's entirely up to you and how you want your helm to look. So that's really all I have for you for what I've been working on, and the couple of tips and tricks that I have for the Iron Man helm, especially with working with Pepakura. This is the first stuff that I found, and you know, as I work with my Mark 7, I will be sure to video update you guys and give you guys the tips and tricks. Other than that, Son Alexander, and I hope you guys have a great night, and stay tuned. Bye.